Hey, it's Adrian, and today I want to just show three clear cases that you can use for the S22 Ultra. You can see that I have the white version, and it's really nice looking, and I didn't really want to cover it up with like a solid case. So that's why I have these clear cases. So I'm going to put each one of them on and go over the pros and cons, and you can decide which is best for you. Okay, the first case that I want to take a look at is this case from Spigen, however you pronounce it. So this has kind of like a glitter type look, and it really does look nice on the phone. So I'll just pop it in right now. Really simple to do. And you can see when you look at the back of the phone, it gives off this kind of like shimmering type of look. Now, the other thing that I like about this case specifically versus the other cases is that there's not a huge cutout here for the cameras. Each of the lenses is, individually encircled by the cutout, except for right here. This is the only area where you have a pretty big cutout. But looking at the close-up, that's what it looks like. So it looks really nice, and you can still see the white showing through. Now, the corners of the case, you can see it has this little kind of air pocket here, just to protect against side bumps and things like that. The microphone is fully open, so it's not covered in any way, and you have those bumpers on each of the corners there. And looking at the bottom, the only thing covered is the SIM card tray, and that's fine. You don't need access to that all the time anyway, but all the other ports are completely accessible. Now, the S Pen, it has a pretty big cutout, so it's easy to just click that, eject it out, and then click that back in. So that's great. So in terms of usability, you have full access to everything on this phone. There's no issues. On the side, you have your buttons for the volume rockers and then the power button, so that's perfectly fine. This piece of plastic at the top here and also found at the bottom here, it does extend past the screen, so I'll try to show that on camera. So if I angle it, you can see that piece of plastic, it extends a bit higher, so the height is higher than the screen, so it's not flush with the screen. So that's on the front, the top and the bottom, sorry. So if you just drop the phone down directly, that lip at the top and bottom will prevent the screen from making contact at the bottom here. However, if you look at the phone from the side, kind of hard to get focus. Yeah, so if you look at the phone from the side here, this piece of plastic on the left side and right side, they are not flush with the screen. They're lower than the screen because the glass curves inwards. So if you had damage from the side, it wouldn't be protected at all. It would only be top and bottom. You can see as I angle the case, you can see there's a good amount of raised plastic, or there's a good amount of lip on the back there. So the camera lenses are properly protected, and that amount of plastic is pretty good. It's decent enough where those lenses aren't going to get scratched if you put it on a dirty table or a dirty surface. So that's pretty good. So of all the cases, this is my favorite case just because of that type of shimmering effect that it gives off. Now, this is a bit of a softer material than the others, but you can see it's still pretty thick, and it still goes right back into place. So it does offer good protection, but if you're really looking for something harder and stronger, then the other two cases are what you're going to be interested in. All right, the next clear case I want to look at is from a company called RingKe. So this case is just completely clear, as you can see, and there are no individual cutouts for the cameras at the back. It's just a big cutout. Now, this material, it is thicker than the Spigen case that I had, the kind of shimmery one. The other thing to note that this one has is a cutout on the right side and left side here. And what these are for is to thread in a lanyard if you want to hang the phone that way. I'm not sure, I'm not too sure how much I trust this piece of plastic, but it is there if you want to use it. So I'll just pop this in. And this one is a bit tougher to get in because this material is much less flexible than the previous case from Spigen. So let's take a look. So you can see while the case is on, you have access to the buttons, and these are kind of ribbed, so you have a bit of texture on there. Like the other case, you do have these kind of like extra padded pocket areas here for corner protection. And looking at the bottom, so again, you have access to all the ports, except the SIM card tray, which you don't really need. And in terms of ejecting the S Pen, there's pretty easy access to that. That's not difficult. You have access to that microphone. So all in all, pretty good case. And if you look at the back of it, you can see that's a significant amount of lip around here. So it's raised enough where, again, when you put the phone down, you're not going to damage the lens. Now, one area where this may be lacking though is in the spaces in between the lens. You know, some stuff can still get there, which is why I prefer the Spigen case, because it really wraps around each lens module nicely. Again, we'll look at this bottom and top lip here. So you can see if I angle the phone to the side, this lip, this piece of plastic that runs along the edge, that extends quite a bit more from the screen than on the previous case, the Spigen case. Same at the bottom, it extends quite a bit more. So if you put the phone down just like that, the screen is not likely to be scratched because that lip is raised quite a bit. Now, but same thing on the sides of the phone, right side and left side, the lip is not surpassing, or it's not exceeding the height of the screen. Let me get focused there again, guys. It's not surpassing or exceeding the height of the screen. So any type of damage that comes from the right or left side, you are going to get damage to the screen there. So in terms of the clarity of the case, you can see that the original color of the phone is still coming through pretty nicely. You can see where the cutout is. The color is a bit more white, but when it gets here, it's a bit more muted. So it's almost like a little bit of kind of like a yellow cast. I can't really see it too prominently looking at it directly, but you could see when you compare the white here and the white at the cutout, there is a bit of a difference there. So something to keep in mind. But overall in the hand, the case feels solid. There's a good amount of grip. The last clear case that I want to look at is a case from a company called Tauri. And it's not a company I'm familiar with, but this one came with the most amount of things in it. So there's a whole bunch of like a dust absorber, cleaning cloth, a guide. I mean, there's a ton of stuff here. There's also these camera lens protectors, and there's two of these actually. It comes with two of these, and that's to protect the cameras on the back. Now, I'm not ever going to use this because I'm not really a fan. This does say these are tempered glass. I'm not really a fan of putting more glass on top of glass because I think that does somehow reduce the optics of the camera, so I'm not going to use those. And it also does come with some stickers here that I guess you could paste on the case. Okay, looking at the case from Tauri, so this is the thickest case of the three. So, you know, it might provide the most protection, I'm thinking, because it's so thick. But let's go ahead and pop that on, see what it looks like. So again, not too bad once it's on. So it does add a bit more thickness to the phone. I notice it more with this case than with the other two. But let's take a look at the back. So in terms of the cutout, you can see it's just a huge cutout. So there's no individually wrapped around each of these modules. And then in terms of the color, so again, you can see from the white hair and the white hair, there is a little bit of a color shift. It's not as pronounced as on the other case, the RingKe, but it is there on this case. But taking a closer look, we can see on the sides it has this kind of air pocket again for protection against drops to the corners or bumps to the corner. You have the buttons here, again, pretty easy access. And on the side, you have more of those corner protectors. Now, the bottom of the phone, you can see you have access again to everything except the SIM card tray. But take a look at the cutout for the S Pen. It's much smaller than the other two cases. So if I click that, you can see it's a much smaller opening to access the S Pen. You can still do it, but you'll need some fingernails on your finger to be able to grab it once it pops out. So keep that in mind. And on the top of the phone, you can see the mic is still uncovered. Taking a look at the front of the phone, so the lips you could see at the top and bottom here, they are higher than the screen. They're not flush, so you will get the same type of protection if you put the phone down. But they are not raised as much as on the RingKe case. So the RingKe case definitely has a higher or a more raised lip than this, but again, this is going to be adequate. And same with the other two cases. The side of the case doesn't extend past the screen. However, it is the highest of the other cases. So the lip here, or the amount of height of the side here, it is much higher than on the other two phones. So you'll probably get a little bit more protection, but again, it's not hard on the screen. So any damage coming in from the side is not going to be protected. Taking a close-up look at the back, you can see that's quite the amount of raised lip. So this one offers the most protection for those back cameras there due to how high this piece of plastic is. So if you're interested in picking up any of these, I'm going to leave some links in the description below. And if you found a case that looks really nice as well, especially, you know, like a clear type of case, please share it in the comments down below too. I'm curious to see what you found. And as always, if this video was helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.